poor sleep leads to loneliness. An interesting study shows that there's a connection between poor sleep and loneliness. In today's article, we will talk about how they are related. Poor sleep and feeling lonely are situations that are increasingly common. The latter has increased significantly. In the UK, they even have a ministry for loneliness. Poor sleep has also become a fact of life for many people on the planet. But is it true that poor sleep leads to loneliness? It is unlikely that any of these phenomena are new to you. The unusual thing about this study, however, is that it has found a link between the two. The data seem to suggest that poor sleep leads to loneliness. Although the study doesn't talk about it, there's other data showing that people who don't handle loneliness well often have trouble sleeping. Poor sleep can lead to different emotions. You know that not getting enough sleep can affect your mood. It makes you feel unmotivated and irritable. If you sleep poorly, it can even affect your ability to direct and maintain your attention. The study we're talking about today shows, as we mentioned above, that not getting a good night's sleep can also make you feel more lonely. Sleep is the best meditation. Dalai Lama. The Berkeley study from the University of California that poor sleep leads to loneliness. The neurologists, Ben Simon and Matthew Walker from the University of California, Berkeley, conducted a fascinating study on the relationship between poor sleep and loneliness. They published their findings in the journal Nature Communications in 2018. A previous study with 140 volunteers provided the initial information for the researchers. They found that the participants showed signs of feeling isolated after a night of lack of sleep and they had no one to talk to. Ben Simon and Walker wanted to confirm and expand on these findings. To do this, they asked 18 young people to sleep through the night at home undisturbed. The next night they had to stay awake all night in a laboratory. To keep the volunteers from falling asleep just for 1 minute, they had them participate in many different activities. After this, they showed them a video of a person talking to them. They asked the volunteers to press their button when they felt the person was getting too close. They found that participants stayed an average of 15% farther away after sleeping through the night. Feeling lonely, the effects of poor sleep. The researchers also found that sleep loss triggered more activation in an area the brain associates with threats and danger as the person in the video got closer. In other words, they felt that the closer distance to another person was dangerous. The study also found that the volunteers who had slept poorly had reduced activity in the areas of the brain associated with socialization. This means that they felt less motivated to interact with other people. Participants in the study also said they felt more alone. As the study mentions, although several factors are associated with social isolation and withdrawal from interpersonal interactions, recent evidence indicates that insufficient sleep may be one such candidate. Phase 2. Ben Simon and Matthew Walker conducted a second phase of their study, this time with 1,000 volunteers. They showed videos of the 18 volunteers from the first experiment to each of the participants. Each video lasted just over a minute and was simply a video of the volunteers talking about informal topics. The researchers gave them a 10-item questionnaire. They had recorded half of the videos after a good night's sleep, and the other half of the videos after the volunteers had been up all night. However, they did not share this information with the other group of volunteers. They simply showed them the videos in random order. Next, they asked them which of the volunteers seemed the loneliest. Most of the viewers identified those who had not slept. They also said they noticed that these people also seemed to have a lack of motivation or intention to socialize. The results of the study that poor sleep leads to loneliness. In the final part of the experiment, the researchers asked the 1,000 volunteers to talk about their own feelings after watching the videos of the 18 initial volunteers. The results were fascinating. Just watching the participants who hadn't slept made the audience feel more lonely. The researchers point out that loneliness was also contagious in a way. Many of the participants expressed that, for inexplicable reasons, they felt more alone after watching a video of someone who had been deprived of sleep. The conclusion that the researchers have reached is that poor sleep predisposes you negatively to socializing. It also triggers feelings of rejection from other people. The good news is that one good night's sleep is enough to make it all go away.